The mixed 4x400m relay final at the World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023 was never meant to be just another race. This was a championship opener, a tone setter for the entire tournament, a moment where nations revealed not only their speed, but their confidence, depth, and nerve under pressure. The mixed relay itself is one of the most unpredictable events in modern athletics. Men and women share the track, strategies vary wildly, and every team must decide who runs when, front-load with power or save everything for the final leg. There is no universal formula, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes this race so dangerous and so important. On the start line stood the strongest relay nations in the world. The Netherlands, anchored by the already legendary Femke Bol, carried huge expectations after recent European and world success. The United States, stacked with raw speed and championship experience, were clear favorites on paper. Great Britain, Czech Republic, Belgium, and other contenders arrived knowing that one perfect race could change their place in history. This wasn't just about medals. It was about momentum. Winning, or even medaling, here could energize an entire national team for the days ahead. Losing could plant doubt. And in a mixed relay, where chaos can strike in seconds, even the strongest teams were vulnerable. As the stadium in Budapest filled with noise and anticipation, every athlete understood one thing. This race would be fast, tactical, and unforgiving. And what was about to happen in the final meters would shock the entire athletics world. And as the baton made its way toward the final leg, all eyes turned to one runner. The atmosphere inside the stadium was electric, tense, loud, and restless. From the first exchange zone, you could feel that this was not a routine relay. This was a final where every cheer carried pressure, and every stride was measured against expectation. The crowd in Budapest didn't just watch the race, they leaned into it, sensing that something dramatic was building with every lap. Early on, the United States established themselves as the clear leaders. Their opening legs were aggressive and controlled, creating separation without panic. Smooth baton passes, long powerful strides, they ran like a team that expected to win. Behind them, Great Britain and the Netherlands stayed within striking distance, refusing to let the race break open too early. The Dutch strategy was obvious: survive the chaos and deliver the baton to Femke Bol close enough to fight. Every split before her was run with that single goal in mind. Keep it clean. Keep it close. Trust the anchor. As the race unfolded, the leaders began to separate from the rest of the field. The USA held the front, Britain hovered just behind, and the Netherlands waited, patiently, almost dangerously, knowing that once Bol received the baton, the race would enter a completely different phase. The tension was suffocating. The crowd knew it. The athletes felt it. This was no longer about positioning. It was about who could survive the final lap. And then, the baton reached the last exchange. And the race transformed into something unforgettable. As the race unfolded, each team revealed its true identity, not through words, but through decisions, rhythm, and nerve under pressure. The United States ran with authority. Their early legs were composed and efficient, using strength to control the race rather than chase it. Leading, they were dictating the race. Great Britain showed resilience and balance. They never truly threatened the lead, but they never disappeared either. Their runners stayed technically sound, keeping themselves in medal contention by avoiding mistakes. It was a disciplined performance, not spectacular, but smart, the kind of race that keeps you alive when others fall away. The Netherlands, however, told a different story. Their entire race was a gamble built around one name, Femke Bol. The earlier legs did exactly what they needed to do, nothing more, nothing less. They absorbed pressure, limited damage, and handed over the baton close enough to hope. And once Bol took it, the stadium felt the shift immediately. Her acceleration was violent. Her cadence relentless. Meter by meter, she erased the gap. The chase electrified the crowd, every step pulling the Netherlands closer to something that looked impossible just seconds earlier. The USA could feel it. Britain could see it. Everyone knew what was coming. But this was a mixed relay final, and perfection is fragile. The effort was immense. The pace unforgiving. And as the finish line approached, the cost of that chase began to show. The race was no longer just about speed. It was about control, exhaustion, and the thin line between heroics and heartbreak. A line that would be crossed in the final moments. And then came the moment that froze the stadium. On the final meters, with the finish line almost within reach, Femke Bol did what very few athletes in the world could even attempt: she pushed beyond the limit. Her body had already delivered something extraordinary, closing a gap that seemed impossible just seconds earlier. But in relay racing, the margin between glory and disaster is razor thin. Her legs tightened. Her stride shortened. And suddenly, just meters from the line, it happened. She lost balance and crashed to the track. The sound in the stadium shifted instantly. What had been a roar of anticipation turned into a gasp of shock. This wasn't just a fall, it was heartbreak in real time. An athlete who had given everything, collapsing at the exact moment when history was within reach. This is the cruel truth of elite sprinting. It can happen to anyone. At any moment. No matter how strong, how prepared, how experienced you are. For the Netherlands, the consequences were immediate and brutal. A medal that had been almost secured slipped away in seconds. The team dropped down the standings, not because of poor preparation or lack of talent, but because the body finally said enough. In a relay, one fall doesn't belong to one athlete, it echoes through the entire team. And yet, there was no blame, only silence, disbelief, and respect. Because everyone watching understood the same thing, Femke Bol didn't fall because she failed. She fell because she tried to do the impossible. The question that lingered wasn't about the mistake. It was about the cost of greatness? And what this moment would mean for her, and for the team, moving forward. When the dust settled, the results of the mixed 4x400m relay final told a story far deeper than the finishing order. At the World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023, this race became a masterclass in strategy, pressure management, and risk. Team USA executed the most balanced and confident race of the night. Their strategy was clear from the opening leg: stay controlled early, protect position through the middle, and unleash speed without panic on the final exchange. Each athlete ran within themselves, avoiding emotional surges. That discipline paid off: no wasted energy, clean baton passes, and enough reserve left to secure gold. Their approach wasn't flashy, but it was professional and ruthless. Great Britain followed a similar philosophy, but with slightly more aggression in the middle legs. They pushed harder earlier, attempting to stretch the field and force mistakes. It worked to an extent, they stayed in medal contention throughout, but that early effort left less margin at the end. Still, their cohesion and calm exchanges earned them a deserved podium finish. The Netherlands chose the boldest strategy of all. They deliberately placed their strongest weapon, Femke Bol, on the anchor leg, fully committing to a late race comeback. And for almost the entire final straight, it looked like genius. She erased the gap, reeled in competitors, and turned the race into a personal duel against exhaustion. But this plan carried the highest risk. Everything depended on one final surge, and when her body finally gave out, the entire strategy collapsed with it. Other teams, including Italy and Belgium, ran smart but conservative races. Their focus was on clean execution rather than heroics. They avoided disaster, but also lacked the explosive leg needed to fight for medals. In a final this fast, safety alone wasn't enough. In the end, the most confident strategy belonged to the teams that respected the distance, trusted their depth, and spread responsibility evenly. The Netherlands gambled on brilliance, and nearly pulled off something legendary, while the USA trusted structure and consistency. And that contrast is what makes this race unforgettable. Discipline versus daring, control versus courage, and the fine line between tactical genius and heartbreak, a line that defines relay racing at the highest level.